that's probably like the main tip that I would have for anyone starting out in marketing is consistency and good writing. So it matters more than ever. And today, when so much content is AI generated and a lot of it kind of sounds the same, and the firms that stand out today are the ones that show up consistently and they sound real.
Sharp strategies, sweet success. Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are listening to Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success. I am your host, Tiffany Swedensky, and today I'm talking to Olivia Bradbury. Olivia Bradbury is a part of my mastermind group on Substack, and also she's been participating for a little over a year now. And she's also a fractional CMO, and she's worked for several law firms out in the Norfolk, Southern Virginia area, which I really haven't done much work in myself, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar. She's currently working for Brian Gillette, Wayne Holcomb, and a few other law firms I'll let her mention. And she's also the former marketing director for Edry Pfeiffer, who, if you have done law firm marketing here in Virginia, you might have heard Edry's name. She's done some really great stuff over the years. So I'm really excited to have Olivia on the show and talk marketing with her. And I'm going to let Olivia finish out her introduction.
All right. Yeah, like you said, my name is Olivia Bradbury. I got into legal marketing by accident, believe it or not. My first job was in skincare marketing, and I hated it from the get-go. So I randomly started applying for marketing jobs to try to find something else to figure out like what I really wanted to do. I saw the post for a job that looked for somebody to market to law firms down there in the Virginia Beach area. We had just moved there and I thought it sounded interesting right away. So I kind of hopped right into it, and I've been in marketing for about 10 years now, believe it or not. And once I found the legal space, I just realized I wanted to stay in it, even though I never expected to be here. So that's kind of cool.
Well, my first question, just because I've always kind of envied product marketers because it's such a different space from legal marketing. Can you tell me like why you didn't like skincare? Like why'd you choose to make that leap?
I think it's more of a personality thing for me. I'm not a girly girl, if that makes sense. I'm not the kind of person who like oohs and ahs over all kinds of skincare products, some hair products, but I've never been that kind of person. So it wasn't an area of like big interest for me. So I found it a little hard to relate to both the consumer, but also everybody trying to sell it, if that makes sense. And then we can go into the specifics of that particular work environment not being very healthy and stuff like that. That also kind of contributed, but just mainly not really my interest. So
Yeah, marketing is so varied depending on what industry you're in. And then marketing for an agency is very different than marketing for a small business, any kind of small business. And it tends to become almost like a factory, a marketing factory almost, because you're making creatives and you're making like one type of creative again and
mhm.
again for a bunch of different type of clients, and it all starts to blend together. And from the law firm's perspective, each website is brand new and full of possibilities. But for the web developer, it's probably like the 150th law firm website they've made, and they all just kind of look the
Sure.
same, lose a bit of luster. So I don't know if your former work experience was exactly like that, but I definitely relate because it's tough. That's tough when you're in like that factory of marketing for sure.
hmm No, definitely. And I mean, that was part of what I enjoyed getting into the legal marketing, especially working with like different kinds of firms too, was how different it actually is when you work with different practice areas. Because you can go so many different ways and there's always something to learn. It never gets boring, you know? So even when you start feeling like you know how something works, you don't. So you kind of just got to keep learning as you go as well. But that's what keeps it interesting, at least for me. So
So if you don't mind sharing, what kind of projects are you working on now, or what are the big questions you're rattling around in your head when it comes to marketing and what you're doing with your firms?
So I'd say one of my favorite projects that I'm working on right now is actually a printed referral newsletter for one of my firms. And it sounds kind of old schooly, but we've had so much fun with it because people actually read it, they respond to it, they talk about it, which is rare. Like for anybody who's done a print newsletter knows it's notoriously hard to track and all that stuff. But ever since we started doing this one, there's been so much response. And I think it's because we spend a lot of time thinking about what would actually be useful or interesting for the reader instead of just kind of promoting the firm and doing all this kind of cookie cutter articles and stuff that nobody really cares about. And then recently, because we've been getting all this interaction, we started doing trackable QR codes so that we could actually like go in and see like how much are people interacting with this. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that kind of grows because we just implemented that. So, I mean, that's definitely exciting.
And how often are you guys doing, or how often are you said it was monthly, I guess.
This
Um,
one's monthly, yeah.
are you all guys also doing a separate print newsletter for your client audience?
So currently for that firm, no. They started with only doing a printed newsletter for like past former clients in thousands. And that was expensive. Like I said, it's hard to track. They couldn't really see anything from it. So they kind of just they went to, if I remember right, this was a couple years ago. They went to quarterly, I think, and then kind of just ended up scrapping it altogether. But we've been talking about it a little bit. If we're going to bring something back, whether that be a postcard or something that can kind of pop into people's mailboxes as well, not just an email inbox. But the referral newsletter has been where we've been putting most of our effort into because that one's been fun.
Yeah. And when it comes to nurture marketing, referral marketing, I think what's most important isn't like the what, it's more of like how consistent we are about sending it
Mm-hmm.
and, you know,
Absolutely.
touching base with our referral sources for sure. So doing anything on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis is, or like doing anything on a consistent basis is like super, super great and super important.
I couldn't agree more. That's probably like the main tip that I would have for anyone starting out in marketing is consistency and good writing. So it matters more than ever. And today, when so much content is AI generated and a lot of it kind of sounds the same, and the firms that stand out today are the ones that show up consistently and they sound real. So I don't know. Be consistent, and the human element is becoming more valuable too, not less. At least that's my input on it.
Oh, and it's so funny because there's still like this kind of educational divide between people who use AI daily and people
Mhm.
who don't use AI that often. And people who don't use AI that often, or maybe haven't done writing too often, they just overestimate how well ChatGPT or LLMs can put together content and do good
Mhm.
copywriting. That's still out of reach for a lot of these AI tools. And
I'm not anti AI at all. I think it's an awesome tool to use for certain things. You just can't use it as a replacement for real thinking and someone's real voice.
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of fun things you can do with it, but the copywriting aspect of it, I was thinking about it, you know, it requires understanding emotion. It requires like understanding the client's journey and what they're probably going through. And you could,
Mhm.
sure, you could probably like input all of that into a GPT, but like it still is very, I don't know, kind of predictable, I guess is the way I want to put it. And a
Mhm.
lot of the first ideas it comes up with are ideas like a human would have considered and then scrapped for various different reasons. So,
No, I definitely agree. But it is a helpful
um,
tool.
oh yeah. So, as a fractional CMO, and I'm just curious, like, what are the things like you struggle with when it comes to working with your law firms? Like, what are the issues that you're trying to, I guess,
Mm.
through or get past?
I think it kind of depends on the firm itself, but some attorneys, because they are highly educated and they do what they do because they're good at it, have a hard time letting go of some control when it comes to marketing. So they like to try to hold a very firm grasp over anything marketing related and have some, it's hard for them, for some of them at least, to let go a little bit and to trust that other people might know better, if that makes sense. I always try, I don't work with too many law firms at once. I get to know my clients very well. So they put trust in me after a while, but it takes some time to get to that point too of being trusted enough for them to kind of let go. But yeah, that's probably been my biggest challenge because obviously I don't want them to be completely hands off. I need lots and lots of input from them as well. I just need them to trust me when I make a suggestion or a recommendation. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you've experienced that too.
Oh, yeah, that's always a challenge because you have to have enough authority that it kind of resonates, I guess, with the attorney. Is like you have to be able to stand and say, like, we're doing this because of this, and it's going to work because of this. And just to
Right.
have like, a bit of fearlessness when approaching them because you're very much right. And I mean, being devil's advocate for the business owners, but they are business owners. And that's happen when you let things go with your business and marketing included. And
I
so,
totally get it. It's like you say, it's their business. They can run it however they want. And I totally get it. If they've put their trust in the wrong person before, that's hard to change or let go. I totally get it. But at the same time, you can't really get anywhere unless you let somebody help you who know what they're doing. So it's tricky.
that's the reason there are fractional CMOs and why it's kind of a growing uh, job title, I guess, or a growing like
Hmm.
discipline because you have to have like a certain high level skill to be able to create and orchestrate marketing plans for a business. It's not like a simple job, like it's not a simple feat.
No,
And just like anything that requires like some kind of specialist skill, all business owners learn it's better to outsource that to somebody who knows what they're doing. And when firms contact me, it's usually like, and all of them want to dabble. All of them want to dabble in marketing. But the law firms that I end up working with contact me and just say, like, I'm tired of trying to manage this. I want somebody to help me lead the team and keep the projects moving forward. And that's for me, that's a good client to work with. And a lot of times the meddling, I guess I would say, in the marketing usually comes in short-term bursts. And the longer you can keep them happy, as long as the numbers are going up, quite a few of them are just happy to throw up their hands and say, you do it.
sure.
Yeah. But
I mean,
it's tough because, and I was talking with, and maybe you've had to go through this, but one of my newest clients, their team is really involved with like the marketing planning and marketing process, and they're giving input on trade names, logos, designs. And I told the owners, I'm like, I really, it's not that they're giving input on my work. It's just that everyone's participating in the brainstorming process. And I told the owners, like, look, we have to like keep in mind that their feedback comes from, I guess, like not a ton of experience.
sure.
They're not
It's their
marketers.
personal experiences.
Yeah, their personal experiences with marketing. They're not designers. There are things that, every group is susceptible to groupthink.
Sure.
There's a lot of groupthink going on in small teams. And I point to the firms and big businesses that are executing a lot of marketing. And a lot of them, they really silo things. These decisions are made by these team of people, these decisions are made by these teams of people. And when it comes to marketing, like when you siloed the decision making within like a department as opposed to like an entire team, if you try to use that flat structure, you just end up with like a lot of design by committee and groupthink and things that you generally would want to avoid in marketing. And so
Sure.
I feel like I just kind of went off on a rant there, but
No,
yeah,
I mean, that's one problem you can have when the team is too involved. Another problem you can have is when the team doesn't want to be involved. Because, I mean, if you're working remotely, specifically remotely, it's tricky sometimes because you do need input from your intake specialists and your front desk people, the people who are actually dealing with these clients day to day to know what problems are they facing. I need to know these things to create certain marketing materials or like know what to do. And when they're not being responsive over email or phone call, whatever it is, because they're just not interested, they don't think that's part of their job, that makes it really difficult as well. So it could be on opposite ends of the spectrum there too.
when it comes to intake, the issue I buck up against frequently is we don't document leads unless they're qualified leads. And essentially the firm is
Mm,
saying like we don't document like junk leads. I think that's the shorthand. And the issue I always have there, and it's usually like an education process because I have to convince the owner And then the owner and myself have to take this down to the intake team. But it's important to document all leads because you don't
Hmm.
know which leads are qualified or not unless you have
Right.
documentation. And when that is missing, we're just guessing. We just assume we're documenting all qualified leads when we don't know. And, when it comes to intake teams, part of this issue there is they've been told it's okay. The law firm
Sure. Yeah.
owners, they're just like, oh, you don't, if it's a bullshit lead, you don't have to put it in the system. They say that, and, when they say that, it becomes policy. And then we just have spotty documentation and it makes a whole bunch of things more difficult and it makes it harder to judge the marketing. So, but
Couldn't
yeah,
agree
it's,
more.
yeah. So, like, how speaking of intake, and
Hmm.
uh, something I end up doing a lot, like, how are you working with the intake teams currently? Is it just like kind of an informal relationship? Are you meeting with them on a regular basis or like somewhere in between?
It kind of depends firm to firm. On for one firm, they tend to kind of hop on the calls. I have a weekly check-in with the attorney, so they tend to like hop on the calls, or they'll be on the same email threads or like whatever we have going on. But if there is like hardly any contact with the intake team, I have trouble. I have trouble doing what I need to do. And then the emails got to be rerouted through like the attorney. It's been a whole thing. Like with one specific firm that I used to work with, that was I couldn't get these people to like answer an email to save my life. It was definitely challenging. And then like I would have to text the attorney and be like, "Hey, I need the answer to this question," and like they would have to ask yeah, it was a whole thing. But I don't feel the need to have a weekly meeting more often than not to have a weekly meeting with intake staff. More like update me if anything's going on, and then they hop on calls every now and then. It depends on what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I might do training with an intake team, particularly if we're getting started with like a new intake dashboard. But like,
Mhm.
I don't meet with them weekly either. And it's usually, like you said, it's clustered into one meeting. But, that connection is so vital, and it's so unfortunate that intake is just so undervalued at every law firm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
The
so
first
important.
voice that somebody hears, it's so important, and most people don't even realize it.
Mm. I did, like, a super small, like, quote, unquote, "case study" last week where I waited until about lunchtime, and I called, and it wasn't a personal injury firm, it was a different practice area. And I went to Google Business, Googled the practice area, and called the top 12 attorneys in Google Business. And this was
Mhm.
during like noon. And you want to guess how many times I got sent to voicemail?
Oh, at least half. Am I close?
It's more than half.
Really? That's not
Yeah.
good.
Out of 12 law firms, I was sent to voicemail 11 times. Um,
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't believe it. And like, this was a practice area where they're prone to getting a lot of calls. And so
Yeah.
when your
You
law
don't
firm,
have a call like like an answering service at least if like everybody in the staff is going to lunch at the same time? I feel like that would be a very basic thing to have.
you would assume, but none of these firms had that. None of them. And a lot of them, it wasn't even a call tree. It was just like, "Hi, you called us or outside of regular business hours. Please leave a voice message."
Were these
And
like very small firms or
I mean, some of them were very big firms with a couple hundred reviews.
interesting?
And well,
Interesting.
the one firm that didn't route me directly to voicemail was also a personal injury firm. So this is a firm that had like
Mhm.
practice areas. And so the personal injury firm, the half and half personal injury firm, they picked up, they answered, and they did like an intake and said they would call back. But that was it. Like, and I hadn't
Hmm.
text, email, phone call. And I posed as like a qualified lead as much as I could. And I didn't leave any voicemails because who leaves voicemails? Do you ever leave voicemail when you call a business out of curiosity?
Nah, very rarely. Very
Oh.
rarely. If I do, I'm still gonna call them back again. I'll just leave the voicemail just to like as a double safe thing, maybe. I don't know, but it's rare.
In my personal experience, like if I call a business and leave a voicemail, it's very seldom I get a call back. And I calling my
Mhm.
dermatologist out, or my son's dermatologist rather. They told me in the office, like, call us, and if you leave a voicemail, you'll hear back from us in 24 hours. And a few weeks later, I called and left a voicemail, and I did not hear back in 24 hours. And it was actually like 3 or 4 weeks before I got a call back. And thank God it wasn't important. So there's a reason people don't trust voicemail because most businesses are freaking terrible about following up. Even like hospitals, like I've had 2 kids, so I've had to deal with the hospitals a fair bit. And even like professional businesses where you would expect the follow up to be taken seriously, it's just not taken seriously. And people wonder why
Yeah,
like
been there.
phone voicemail systems don't really work.
Sure. No, I couldn't agree more. Voicemail is not great. Definitely wouldn't recommend that.
So, what are you like looking at in 2026? Like, or is there something that's like top of mind that you're trying to figure out or that you're working on or want to try? I'm just curious.
I'm interested in exploring some more AI tools. Speaking of AI, but finding ways to kind of integrate that in a way where it still works, where you still sound human and all that good stuff. Because like one thing that I've been struggling with a lot with not all of the firms that I work with, but a lot of them is getting attorneys on video, right? That one is really tricky. And like it's so good. It's such good content when you get them to like sound genuine and whatever else on video, right? It's like you struck gold when you get one of those videos. So as you know, there are many AI tools that do these like avatar talking video, but they all kind of look fake, right? Or at least most of them. There are very few that I've found that resemble a human being. But I'm hoping maybe in 2026 we can find something that would be good enough, at least to kind of pass off as a genuine human being, because that would seriously change the game. Not only because the attorneys have, at least the ones I work with, are so busy all the time and they don't view video shooting as a priority. And that would be one thing that'd be really cool if I could find that. But I don't know. Do you have any tips for me there? Have you found anything that might work like that doesn't
I
cost an
mean,
arm and a leg?
well, as far as like AI video tools, I mean, HeyGen is pretty common and accessible for most people, right? But it's not
Yeah.
perfect. You know,
No,
it's, you have to record like 10 to 20 hours of
I
content
know.
to
It's so
create an avatar
much.
HeyGen to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
for
I,
obvious reason, but God.
yeah. Either way, you still have to corner an attorney, a busy attorney, and try to get like 20 hours of video from them.
Right.
Um, but like the stuff that worked best for me is like trying to get them to set aside like a big block, like an hour or 2 hours in like a dedicated room for video editing or a dedicated space,
Hmm.
distracted, and to just have the scripts ready. And then, you know,
Right.
what really worked good is prompting them and having them tell a story. Like, tell me a story about the most difficult case you worked on, or a client you'll never forget, or just questions that you can tease out details where they can't just like answer it with a canned response or a ChatGPT answer.
Sure.
And record content in chunks if they can do it. But I'll be honest, like for my bad boy attorneys who won't record video for me, who say they will but won't. And I'm not calling, actually, I don't really think I'm having, everyone has gotten me some amount of video this year. So I'm not calling out anyone specific. And I know
Well, that's
everyone's,
good.
but I- I'm at the point if I start working with a law firm and I want them to do video and they won't do it, I start immediately talking with them about hiring a spokesperson of some kind. And
That's a good idea, actually. I hadn't really thought about that. Hmm.
well, and it's almost a veiled threat because it's like, "Hey, if you don't record videos for your brand, I will get somebody
Sure.
to do it." And
Smart. Smart.
I haven't executed on this yet because I haven't had to. But I know that there are agencies out there now for social media creators who probably for a very reasonable price, you can hire a creator who's good on camera, good working with the camera, understands a little what makes a good ad or video, and
Sure.
we're working with them. And that's my thoughts. I get to a point where I'm just like sick of trying to get the videos out of the law firm. Yeah.
No, I mean that's great. I just feel like it won't have the same authority still because it's not the main attorney. If especially if the firm is named after this attorney, like that's who you want to see as a potential client. Like if I'm looking to hire you, I want to see you talking about this stuff, right? Not whoever this other person is.
Yeah.
So
I spoke with a law firm that used to have a spokesperson, right? They did billboards and they had like a dedicated spokesperson that they hired through an agency. And the issue there is that spokesperson passed away. And
oh
they couldn't,
no.
and the local community so strongly associated that spokesperson with the law firm brand. Like basically when they lost him, God rest his soul, they basically were starting over. And yeah, I mean, that's the risk
Hmm,
with any individual. Like they can become a star of your brand, in my view, because companies have used spokespeople for forever. You have to have somebody who can continually show up and help you develop a presence. Because you're right, it's not the law firm owner, it's a wild card. That person could be fired. That person could just stop showing up to work or stop making videos. And they could die or
yeah,
something like that. It's a risk, unfortunately. But for the attorneys who, like, if you're a business and you want to do video and you want to get cases through video, your options are record them yourself or have somebody else do it for you. And one route takes up a lot of your time, the other route is risky. So it's
sure, sure.
there. I haven't found a third alternative yet other than AI video, which, nah. So I guess that's my thoughts. Anyway.
Uh, it's always nice when you have an attorney that really enjoys making videos and that's like comfortable on camera. It doesn't happen very often, but like when I do find one of those, I'm always excited.
Oh, yeah. And some of them really blow me away. They're just proactive and they're already doing it. I follow a few attorneys on TikTok who just make content every day. And it makes me
Mm.
feel bad because I'm bad enough about just like taking pictures like when I go places. I was thinking today, I kind of want those meta glasses because they'd always be recording
Oh, that'd
and
be
it'd be
so
so
cool.
convenient for somebody like me who just kind of is not a photographer. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen those. Those are pretty rad.
Yeah, there's some cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're coming up kind of close to the end of the episode. So I have a few questions I always hit people with. So, Olivia, is there anything that we didn't end up talking about that you wanted to go over today?
I don't think so. I think we covered most things.
Oh, well, that was easy.
It was easy.
Now you're going to make me think of another question. It's like, well, I'm not going to let you off that easy.
Sorry. Thought you said I wasn't on trial.
No, no, no. It's so rare. I'm going to give you a softball. What's your favorite tool that you're using right now? Like thing you use every day and you just couldn't live without? I'm always looking for ideas.
I mean, this one is way too basic, so this is not going to give you an idea. But Canva,
Oh,
I,
yeah,
I'm
Canva.
sorry, I use Canva with like everything all the time. It's just the simplest, easiest thing. So
I,
yeah, that.
it, I used to be like married to Photoshop and a purist about it too. So you're like, Canva, I can make things in Photoshop. Uh, But like it's so easy. There's so many templates. Yeah, I love it too. I mean, it's a great marketing tool. And you can do so much with it that I'm just like now kind of discovering like document design. I think they're starting to like get into like form building and automations and stuff. I think it's very
They
lightly.
are.
Yeah.
They also have an AI tool built into Canva now. I do not recommend using it. It is not very smart. Let's just say that. I spent like 15 minutes trying to undo something that I used this AI tool for. And the AI assistant, I think they call it the Canva AI assistant or something. It's like, oh, explain what you wanted to do, right? Kind of like you would with Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever, right? And yeah, it'll spit something out. That something's probably not going to be what you want. So they're
That
not there yet.
that's been my experience with it. Kind of disappointed to hear it hasn't gotten better. But
No.
just to I hadn't I think there is actually I was trying to get it to generate something kind of funny for as a request, like a client request. And I just couldn't get it to do something so simple like remove a background or remove a thing from the background. And it was like, okay, I'm spending so much time with this. It feels a little silly. I got to get back to work. Yeah, some
Pop
of
it in
the
Photoshop.
I mean, there's sometimes like an AI tool, like I rep Trello all the time as my project management tool, and their new like AI tool is pretty neat. Like I can send it an email and it breaks it down into like a project card. Oh, and it's like a game changer. And it just like all of a sudden that tool just appeared in Trello and it like changed my life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know. And I love it when they release AI tools that are actually like super useful. Sometimes it's kind of far and few in between. Like they're still, what is it, like 95% of AI projects fail or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I used the free trial of Motion to try that out. I don't know if you've tried that yet, where you can hire like different kind of AI assistants to do work for you, and you can create funnels, you can have them answer your emails, you can have them do all kinds of stuff, right? And I wasn't convinced enough to splurge on actually trying it out longer than the trial period. So I don't think we're there yet, at least not
No.
with that.
Well, and
I haven't
then
tried Trello.
but like Gmail's Gemini. And I love how I can
Hmm.
just push a button and it's like, tell me what this email is about. Cause sometimes I get long ass emails and I'm just like, I'm not reading all that. Tell me what
Sure,
this email
yeah.
is about. That is so useful. I love that one. That one's really good too.
Hmm.
But it's pretty basic because I could just like copy and paste the email into ChatGPT. So it's not like earth
That's an
shattering.
extra step though.
Yeah. Yeah. It saves you an extra step. All right, Olivia. So thank you so much for coming onto the show today. I chronologically,
Thank
this
you
has
for
been
having
like
me.
I've recorded a podcast in like a week or so. So it's nice to be back in the saddle, I guess. But thanks so much for coming on and being my guest.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Where do you want people to go look you up and learn more about you?
They can find me either on LinkedIn, where my name is Olivia Bradbury, or you can find me on oliviabradbury.card.co, card spelled with two R's. My last name is spelled like Ray Bradbury, the author of Fahrenheit 451. No relation, which is honestly disappointing for everybody involved. But yeah, I
Um,
get that all the time.
Thank you so much again. It was a pleasure talking with you, and we will see everyone next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.